it's time for us to have an interesting conversation this morning. We're going to be talking on this, the DIY segment. We're going to be looking at malaria. So today happens to be World Malaria Day, and I've been joined by eminent World Mosquito Day, and we'll be joined by some eminent persons here. I'm going to find out, why do we even need a day for mosquitoes? I mean, I don't understand. Okay, so let me introduce my guest to you. Dr. Samuel Kwekudazi is a medical entomologist, senior research fellow, and head of Department of Parasitology at the Noguchi Memorial Institute. And then we also have Dr. Sakyi P. Bansa, who is also a medical entomologist and research fellow at the same institute. And then we also have Mrs. Otubia Owusu Akrofi, and she's sitting right next to me here, medical entomologist and the head Vector Control Unit, National Malaria Control Program. All right, gentlemen and ladies, you're welcome to Breakfast Daily. All right, so the big question, why do we need a day for mosquitoes?
Well, good morning, and good morning to your cherished viewers and listeners. The question, why do we need a day for mosquitoes? Mm-hmm. I think we all know what mosquitoes do to us in terms of the diseases that they transmit to us. One of them is malaria. So over the years, when the malaria started in the early 18s, many people didn't know how malaria was transmitted. You know, it was mostly associated with marshes, and that once you live within the marshes where there's water, you're likely to get malaria. So there was this British medical officer who decided to look into that, whether really that was the case. So his name is Sir Ronald Ross. He's a British medical officer. And so he started doing some research to find actually what is the link between the mosquito and malaria. And lo and behold, he discovered that actually the mosquitoes are the direct link to humans in terms of transmission of malaria. And so that was a very big, in terms of science and even treatment of malaria, that was the link was very important for people who want to control malaria. So in the early 1902, he was actually given a Nobel Prize for that discovery. So to celebrate him and his achievement, the world decided to have 20th August as a day to celebrate or commemorate that very invention or discovery that has really changed the way we control malaria.
So, Doc, how many, so we have heard of dengue fever, malaria, and these are supposedly caused by the same mosquito or different mosquitoes? How many types of mosquitoes do we have?
Well, globally, we have almost around 4,000 different species of mosquitoes. You know, depending on where you find yourself, you may have one or the other. But only a few of them, about 35, of those species are actually those that transmit malaria to humans or other diseases to humans. So as you rightly asked, different mosquitoes transmit different diseases. And I think we'll go into details as to the various different types of mosquitoes and what kind of disease they transmit, because we have several of them. And depending on where you find yourself, you find one species or the other transmitting dengue or malaria or chikungunya, Zika, several diseases that mosquitoes do transmit.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's focus on malaria for a moment. Let me come to you, Sakyi. Which mosquito causes malaria? And add to that question, why has it been so challenging for us to get rid of malaria?
Okay, so to talk about the mosquitoes that cause malaria, we have specifically the Anopheles mosquito. So for the Anopheles mosquito, we have different species within the Anopheles mosquito. So we have Anopheles gambii, we have Anopheles funestus. So depending on your geographical location, for example, in Ghana, we have Anopheles gambii and then funestus transmitting.
Okay.
So for example, when you take Japan, you have Anopheles stephansii transmitting. So in terms of the particular mosquito that transmits malaria, it depends on your geographical location. Do you get it?
So wait, hold on. So you said, so there are different types of Anopheles, but it's always Anopheles.
Yes, always Anopheles. The general Anopheles, but we have different species of Anopheles.
Okay.
So for Ghana, we have Anopheles gambi transmitting. We have Anopheles funestus transmitting here in Ghana. Yeah. So it's dependent on your geographical location in terms of transmission, malaria transmission.
Okay. Yeah. Why has it been so challenging for us to get rid of malaria?
So I think it's more of our practices. So, for example, you walk around within our communities and all that, you have pools of water, standing water and all that. You know, malaria thrives best in standing water, shallow standing water, So it's more of dealing with source, we call it source reduction, more of dealing with your pools of water, how you get rid of all these pools of water within our various communities. So it's more of our practices.
And also the behavior of the mosquito. When you put pressure on them in one angle, they tend to adapt to the opposite of your pressure. So it means that every time we have to be smart and be on our toes and look for ways in which to counter-react there.
Okay, so here's a big question for any of you. Will we ever get rid of malaria?
Well, so countries are looking at what they call malaria elimination. And several factors come into being able to say that you can eliminate malaria. As my colleagues have rightly said, the part of malaria control that's challenging is that the vector itself. You know, the vector, which is the mosquito, is so smart.
Okay.
You know, you'll be surprised that the mosquito actually really determines where it bites you, whether you are inside your room or outside your room.
I see.
And some are actually born to bite inside, and some outside.
Really?
Yes. So
that's interesting.
To that extent, you mean that whatever control measure you want to put in, you need to have a very good understanding of the behavior of the mosquito. So that's one of the challenges. And so, as you said, mosquitoes keep on changing behavior, just as we also keep on trying to kill them. Okay, so one of the biggest challenges we're having now globally and in Africa is the issue of resistance to insecticide. You know, insecticides are the common things we use to kill mosquitoes. When you go to your room, the sprays you use are all made of oil. So most of these mosquitoes, with time, have developed resistance to these insecticides. Most of them. To the extent that if you spray your room, the mosquito will just be on the wall and looking at you and smiling at you.
Wow.
So that's one of the challenges. So we are looking at some innovative ways to get around that challenge. And so currently we are doing all kinds of things in country, working with the malaria control program to try and minimize the effect of this resistance that we are seeing.
Okay. How bad is the resistance though? So I mean, if I'm going to say I'm going to buy any of the different array of mosquito sprays, am I throwing my money away? Or should I still get a mosquito spray as it is at the moment?
I think the challenge has been that before even you use that spray, it would have been good to know what type of insecticide that's in there. We have some information, some data. Currently, we are generating resistance data across the country, working with the malaria control program, Noguchi, and other partners. We actually want to see whether the mosquitoes we have, especially for malaria mosquitoes, how well they are able to withstand the insecticides we are using.
Okay.
So that data is informing what strategies or what insecticide we use.
Okay.
For instance, the nets that are coming, the insecticides that are coming for different control measures need to be assessed to know whether they are effective.
Okay.
You know, so you may not be able to get into a shop and say, okay, this thing will kill a mosquito or not. But if you look at the label, for instance, if I look at it, I can say this insecticide may, based on the information I have, may work or may not.
Okay.
So that we are trying to create that information, and very soon all that information will be published, it will be available so that people know what works and what doesn't work.
So it's very possible that when you walk in and you look at the shelf and you look at your favorite mosquito spray, it's very possible that that mosquito spray is actually quite useless against the mosquitoes.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Even the coils.
I've stopped buying. I'm not buying mosquito spray anymore.
Exactly.
Even the coils.
We have paper tools.
Yeah, we have done some studies, to look at coils and other things.
Interesting. Now really you brought some trays. You brought a tray here. Yeah. I see some. I would hazard a guess. Mosquito larvae are swimming around. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah. So as we said, we have different species of mosquitoes. In Ghana, we have three. The most common species we have are three.
Yeah.
So this one is the Anopheles larvae. So you know the mosquitoes spend part of their life cycle in water.
Yes.
So when they lay the eggs hatch into larvae, and these are the larvae we brought here. And they go into about 3 different stages.
Okay.
Then they move into the pupae and then the adults.
Okay.
When the adults come out, that's when they come looking for blood and things like that.
Okay.
And they actually need the blood for the eggs that they develop. So it's not as if it's coming to bite you because
just for the sake of biting. It's feeding.
It's feeding to get your blood, a protein in your blood, to nourish its eggs. So these are the larvae. These larvae will go through different stages, then they become adults within a week.
Yeah,
they are adults. There are other species which are also adapted, like the Aedes. The Aedes are the black and white types.
Okay.
The stripe, they have these black and white stripes. You find.
Okay.
Mostly,
so we have Aedes there on the screen.
Yes, that's the Aedes mosquito. So it's normally called a tiger mosquito because of its
the colors.
Stripes.
Yeah. Okay.
And these are very common in the afternoon. They bite mostly. They are daytime biters. So when you sit in your house in the afternoon, having a rest, they will come chasing you.
Okay.
They need your blood. The females, the males actually don't bite. It's only the females.
Wait, hold on. Let me rewind that tape. You said what? The male mosquitoes don't bite.
Yes. The purpose of the males are to mate with the females.
Okay.
Deposit their sperms or spermatica in their spermatica. Then within 6 days, 7 days, they are off. Yeah. They leave the females to carry on the generation. Okay. Go to look for blood to nourish the eggs. They need the mating to fertilize the eggs because of the sperms. So the males live short-lived, than the females. Okay. So the females live longer. Okay. So as I was saying, these Aedes are the ones that transmit yellow fever, dengue, chikungunya, Zika, several other viral diseases. Yes.
Interesting.
And the Anopheles, for instance, as my colleague has said, are mostly associated with malaria. So depending on where you are and depending on the kind of water body that you are dealing with, you may have 1 or 2 of these different species. Yes.
Yeah. You wanted to say something?
No,
okay. All right. So let's get to the prevention, or let me say protection of ourselves from the mosquito. I see that you have a mosquito net here.
Yes.
Let's talk about this.
Okay. So for Ghana, we talk about 2 main ways to protect yourself, to prevent the bite. Yeah. We talk about indoor residual spraying, where the rooms of the houses are sprayed with a special kind of insecticide we know works. Okay. And then when the mosquito lands on the wall, it picks a dose of it and then it dies off. The other thing we promote is the mosquito net, which also is an insecticide incorporated net. So it works in 2 ways, actually. The insecticide net acts as a chemical barrier, and the net itself as a physical barrier. So when the mosquitoes get in contact with the nets, they pick a dose as well, and they die off. So those are the 2 main ones that we promote.
How easy is it for us to get this chemical that you're talking about, that when the mosquitoes come into contact with they die?
For the net, you don't need to come in contact with the insecticide. It's already been incorporated in it, so you need the net. But the challenge is that in Ghana, most people don't like using the net. We did a survey just 2019, and we realized that ownership is about 74% in the country of net, but just about 60% of people actually use it. It's not where we want to get to. And we have several channels in which we make sure that the net gets to the
60%
people.
60% of those that own
yes.
use it.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's not a lot.
Yes.
Okay, so
and that's an improvement from previous years, actually.
So before we talk about trying to raise more awareness and all of that and getting more people to use it, is there a way to use the net? How easy is it to fix the net? Maybe these are some of the cumbersome things that people have challenges they have and so on.
Yeah. So for the nets that we distribute, we have 2 main types: the conical, the round at the top, and then it flows down.
Okay.
Yes. And then we have the rectangular, which you hang over the rectangular silhouette of your bed.
Okay.
And for most times, we distribute the rectangular ones.
All right.
So if you are hanging it, very simple. If you
so
have
that's the rectangular one we are looking at.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's a rectangular one. So you hang it to 4 corners in your room. Sometimes you have the middle portions also with ropes, so you hang it to 6 or 4 corners in your room.
Okay.
Or you can get a carpenter to do a T-shaped structure for you. You put at each end of your bed, and then you just hang the net over. But the most important thing is that you need to tuck in well, irrespective of the type of net. Otherwise, the mosquitoes are very smart, as we said initially. They will find a way to come and bite you. If you have a hole, you just sew it, because they will pass through the hole and come and bite you.
Okay.
Yes.
So essentially, I mean, what I find fascinating is that they're actually looking for food to propagate the young ones. The young ones.
Mosquitoes actually feed on plant juices. It's, as Dr. Dadzi said, the blood is to make sure that their young ones, develop.
I see.
Yes, and they keep their generations going.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So, in terms of awareness creation, in terms of getting our numbers up of people who are using them, what do we do? How do we go about this?
So I think in terms of the mosquito net.
Yes, mosquito
so
net.
We have several advocacy organizations, and even Noguchi is part. National Malaria Control is also part. So most of the times we go around, for example, National Malaria Control goes around various communities to distribute nets. Noguchi also has several programs whereby, for example, Dr. Adazi even said we have this insecticide monitoring going on. So it's like most of the times we work in conjunction with the National Malaria Control Program to just send message across, informing and then educating people on what malaria can do to us in terms of how to prevent and then reduce malaria prevalence within the country.
So just to add to that, you realize that we are all wearing these nice T-shirts. So to create awareness and help also get people to use nets and also become aware of mosquitoes generally, we have formed an association called the Pan-African Mosquito Control Association.
Okay.
So we have this association is headquarters in Kenya, actually.
Okay.
And the whole idea of this is to bring African scientists generally together to think about how to have innovative ways of controlling malaria generally and other vector-borne and mosquito-borne diseases.
Okay.
So Ghana chapter was formed early this year. We have different chapters spanning across different African countries. And we are, I think, the 8th chapter, that the newest chapter that was formed. And so it was formed early this year. And one of the things we'll be doing, and we have several activities lined up, is to also create awareness about the need to use mosquito nets. They need to have to get information about mosquito control activities. And most of the things, very easy things we can do. For instance, where these Anopheles mosquitoes breed are places just right behind our houses.
So don't create them.
We don't. They come in very small water bodies, small pockets of water. We'll produce. So those are some of the things we are doing. We'll
continue the conversation about prevention and keeping our neighborhoods clean and all that. But let's go take a look. Demonstrate for us how to fix the nets.
Okay, so I will need 4 people acting as the 4 corners in the room.
So I think we can all move over. And let's go through that.
So when you have a new net, the insecticide in it is a bit concentrated.
Okay.
So you don't use a new net straight away.
So let's come over here. Yeah.
You need to.
You don't use it straight away.
No, you don't use a new net straight away. You open it up and let fresh air pass through. You don't hang it under the sun as well. Other than that, you have the insecticides not being viable.
Okay.
Sorry.
Please come this way. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you have 4 corners in your room, you just hang it to the various corners in your room beautifully like this. Please bring it down. If our bed is the floor, we have failed. It has to. Exactly. So that you can tuck in.
Yeah. And so this one, you drop, it should be low enough.
It should be low enough for you to be able to tuck in under.
Okay.
And you don't have to use a mosquito net only when you are using a bed. You can even use it on a mat.
Okay.
Or anything that you are sleeping on. Even the drivers that go on long journeys, they can just hang it 4 corners and tuck it in. That's all they need.
So I noticed that we have, apart from the 4 that we have here that we're holding, there are also 2 others.
There are also 2 additional.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And some of the net packaging also comes with a rope in place already. So you just have to hang it that way.
Because that has been one of the challenges that people find difficult to hang because they can't get places. And I remember one time malaria control had to get an innovative way of getting people things that they can use to hang.
Okay.
So we actually went into people's rooms and hung it for them because one of the challenges was that they didn't know how to hang. But we didn't continue on that initiative for them.
So you're saying that initially when we take it out of the packaging, how long do we air it for before we use it?
Okay, so 48 hours.
48 hours,
yes.
Okay.
So sometimes we make the confusion, we get confused between 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. We say it's 24 hours. No, it has to be the full cycle and then another one. So 2 full days. You hang it in a shade where there's enough air blowing through. Then you are sure that the concentration of the insecticide is not too much for you. Then you go ahead.
You mentioned earlier that we shouldn't put it out in the sun.
Yes.
Why not?
If you do, the insecticides reduce in
the activity of the
potency of it will reduce.
Exactly,
Okay. Fantastic. So, well, thank you very much to all of you. Thank you to you, Dr. Kweku Dadzie. Thank you to you, Dr. Selassie, and then to you, Mrs. Is it Awusu Akrofi?
Awusu Akrofi,
all right. Thank you to you. Thank you for watching this segment of the.
Hi there. We hope you enjoyed the show.
Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share with your friends.
This is Breakfast Daily on Citi TV.
Join the Breakfast Daily team Monday through Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10. Join us for breakfast daily, only on Citi TV.